Okay, folks, I am going to do the impossible. I am going to make cinnamon rolls. Stacy's famous cinnamon rolls, at least according to my family, because actually the recipe is the Pioneer Woman's Cinnamon Rolls by Ree Drummond. These are excellent cinnamon rolls. Best rolls ever. But here's the problem, folks. I don't have a working oven. So do you think I can do it? Can I make cinnamon rolls using nothing but a bread machine and a toaster oven? And here's where it gets tricky. I had a toaster oven prior to this one, and that one's door didn't open down, it opened up. So it was a rounded toaster oven. That gave me less room inside. So, if I put dough in that rounded toaster oven, it would be too close to that upper heating element, and the dough would literally catch on fire. So that's the anticipated problem for these cinnamon rolls. Will they actually bake, or will the toaster oven catch them on fire? Well, let's find out, because I'm going to make these cinnamon rolls anyway. And I'm just going to warn you, she is making cinnamon rolls for everybody she ever knew and everybody she's ever going to come in contact with in her life. I have halved this recipe, but it takes milk, oil, sugar, yeast, flour, and baking. I have no idea. It's either baking soda or baking powder. I'll have to double check it online, because they screwed up. Their little printy dude screwed up. They got this awful whatever the hell it is right here instead of whatever that baking thing is. It's probably baking powder, but I'll double check it. And then she likes hers with maple frosting. I like mine with cream cheese frosting, and that's what I have in the fridge. So let me do a little bit of cleaning on that toaster oven because it's filthy. I just realized that. And I'm going to do a few dishes and I'll be back. All right. So one of the great things about these scales is you can set anything on them and turn it on and it will zero. So right now I have my pan on my scale and it's set at grams, but I want it at ounces because we're going to do the milk first. And I need 16 ounces of milk. And you might be wondering, why am I doing this today? You'll see this, I think, tomorrow on Friday. But I am making it on the 12th of December. One, I don't have an empty slot for these cinnamon rolls before Christmas, except on the days that I do my writing tutorials. And this milk expires today. So, I'm going to do myself a favor and use it in cinnamon rolls. I need 2 cups or 16 ounces. So let's see how, well, if it wasn't a crusty milk. All right. My skillet weighs 30 fluid ounces. Check that out. My skillet weighs 30 fluid ounces. Okay, I just thought that was neat. All right, so let me hope that this is 16 ounces of milk. Oh, it might be. Oh, it might be. Holy cow! 16 ounces of milk, and I still have a little milk in the container. Alright, that's pretty impressive. And like I said, I have halved this recipe because if I don't, I will have cinnamon rolls for the rest of my life. I used to do all the baking and for Thanksgiving and Christmas for my family, but I don't get to bake for them anymore because in the world's simplest terms, they are now allergic to sugar. So they can't have anything I bake, and I will not harm their health by baking for them. So I'm going to bake for you. So 2 cups of whole milk and 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. So let me tear that, and I will get my trusty container of vegetable oil that I got from the food pantry. Keep in mind that so far, I have not spent a dime on these cinnamon rolls. I need 4 ounces of oil, and the truth is any oil will do. 1/2 cup of sugar. So I will get out my trusty bag of sugar that I also got from the food pantry. Who knew the food pantry would give you stuff to make cinnamon rolls? 4 ounces of sugar. And now what I'm going to do, and this is where it gets different from most other recipes. I am going to turn you around to the stove. And I'm going to take this mixture and put it on the stove. Because what I want to do is melt the sugar. So the only goal here is to melt the sugar. And this is one of those recipes where you absolutely want to melt the sugar into the milk. The dough just doesn't do right if you skip this step. So I'm just melting the sugar and kind of warming this up for the yeast. I should also mention that it is 10 degrees outside, so it is a wonderful day to do some baking. But my milk and oil and all of that is done. And while the sugar melted and the milk warmed up, I went ahead and washed the bread machine because that's what I'm going to need this in. Guess I should turn you around. I don't know if you can see much. But there it is, and I am going to, whoops, lose my fork in the milk mixture. And it is for sure hot. So I'm going to have to wait for that milk and sugar to cool off before I do anything else. So here's what it looks like. I might have to turn on the light. There it is. So there's the milk and sugar and all of that. I'm surprised this doesn't have vanilla in it. It doesn't, but I'm going to put some in anyway. So I'm going to put some vanilla in here too. And then all I'm doing now is just waiting for it to cool off. Once it's cool, I'll be back. All right, this is not done yet. But For most people, what you'd want to do is stick a thermometer in here, and when it says about 110 degrees, you would put your yeast in. Me, here's my thermometer right here. I can stick my finger in that and I'm fine, but it's still just a little bit too hot for yeast. All right, now I am ready for the yeast. I need, it says, 2 packets of yeast. Now I'm only making a half batch, so I need 1 packet of yeast. That is 0.25 of an ounce, so I think the closest I can get is 0.3 of an ounce. So let's sprinkle some yeast. .2, so let's see what this is in grams. 5 grams, 6 grams, so I still want about 10 grams of yeast. Or 8 grams of yeast. I think 8 grams of yeast is fine. Or 9. So, what have I got here? Units. Okay, so I've got 0.3 of an ounce, which is 9 grams. And I am just going to leave that in there for a minute and let it start foaming. It should take about 5 minutes and I'll be back. All right, so I just got done looking at the recipe online, and I realized as I sat here that there was no salt in this recipe. Turns out that the baking powder, the baking soda, and the salt is all behind this awful whatever it is. So if you go to print this out, be careful, because it's not giving you all the ingredients. And I've gone ahead and fixed it. Now, if I wasn't recording with my phone, I would probably use my phone for this. But I can't record and read a recipe at the same time. I don't think it would work well. So let's take a look and see how my yeast is doing. Well, it's looking all right. So now I need the baking soda, the baking powder, the flour, and the salt. And if you remember from, one of my shopping videos, it may not be out since this particular video is going to be out of order. But I bought the baking powder and the baking soda. So it was $3.25 for these. So here's the baking soda I'm going to put in. And here's the baking powder that I'm going to put in. You really can never put too much in, or at least I don't think you can. All right, now that I've just used my pants as an apron, I need to make some aprons, or I need to wash the ones that I've already made because I just made myself a mess. All right, so this is done. Now I need 4 cups of flour. 4 cups of flour. So that is going to be 120 times 4. So let's see what we got. 480. So I need 480 grams of flour. Let's see if it's in here. I might run out of flour on this one, but I've got one more bag. 480 grams. Will I have it? Oh, maybe. It's going to be close. 480. There was still 4 cups of flour in the bag. There's the flour in the bread mixer. And here is what is left in my bag. That is it, folks. So now I'm going to put the salt in. And the reason I did it this way is because salt directly on top of your yeast can actually harm your yeast. So we'll put a little salt in there. And now I am going to stick this in the bread machine, and I'm going to let the bread machine do the kneading for this. But I'm going to do like I always do and wipe the machine off just a little bit. All right, I like to wipe my bread machine off just a little bit in between uses. Alrighty, almost ready to stick it in the bread machine. All right, here it goes. All right, let's go check out the dough as it... Now it is a loose dough, but it's not supposed to be that loose. I think I'll put the rest of the bag in. Alright, I'm going to leave it like that, and I will check on it in a few minutes. Alright, so I added the rest of the bag of sugar in there, or flour. Well, it's a little steamy, so I will open it just a little bit. There it is. This is a half order, folks. Alright, all I'm doing is waiting for the dough cycle to end, and whoops, that was my hand over the camera, but I'll show you how much it is. 1 hour and 17 minutes. So in 1 hour and 17 minutes, I will be back to show you how to put this dough together. Alright, my cinnamon roll dough is done. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. I've just pulled it out of the bread machine. And this is a half order, remember. Half order of the cinnamon rolls. And it has filled my bread machine. So there's no way I could have made a full order of, you know, the Pioneer Woman's cinnamon rolls. I don't have that much room, but there's that. Here's the pile of flour that I've done, and I need to melt some butter. I haven't done that yet. I actually screwed up my lunch, and I concreted the spaghetti onto the bottom of my pan. So I've been cleaning that for the last 20 minutes. Here is some flour. I'm on my last bag of flour. So I might actually have to buy some flour. Forgot to take off my watch. Remember to take off your watch and your jewelry before you start playing with dough. Here is my dough, and I'm going to turn it out onto my flour. Come on, dough ball. This is a really, really sticky dough. Really, really sticky. I want all the dough. And if you're wondering, you know, what I bought out of this, That answer would be the salt, the vanilla, and the baking powder and baking soda. Other than that, making these cinnamon rolls will end up being fruit. And of course the cinnamon is mine. So there is the dough for half an order of cinnamon rolls, folks. And I'll tell you why I don't do full orders of this dough anymore. I actually made a full order of this dough one time. And it was 2 cookie sheets, large cookie sheets of dough. And I had 2 large cookie sheets of dough when I went to bed that night. You know where this is going. I got up the next day and I had 1 cookie sheet of dough, or of cinnamon rolls. Yep. I ate a whole cookie sheet of cinnamon rolls all by myself. I have not made a whole thing of cookies or a whole thing of cinnamon rolls since. You want to make this as rectangular as you can. And this might actually take me a while because the last time I made this, I had a rolling pin that worked. And it is a particularly stretchy dough. It really is. It's going to take up my entire table, I can tell you that. See if I can find anything that I can use to help me roll this out with. Alright, I forgot how stretchy this dough is, and for what I'm trying to do, it's just being awful. It doesn't want to roll out properly. So I guess I'll try my coffee mug. Maybe that'll help? I mean, but my coffee mug's got a handle on it, so I don't know how well this is going to work either. But it's just being really awful. It doesn't want to stretch out and stay that way. So I'm going to try and use my coffee mug to help me. Because the dough has to be fairly thin. Otherwise, the layers of your cinnamon roll are going to be really bad. Or at least really thick. And you don't want that. This is keep in mind, this is half an order of this cinnamon roll dough. Half. Well, I'm getting some of it thin because it's starting to rip. cannot believe how many cinnamon rolls this is going to make. So I think I finally got it rolled out. Holy cow. Alright, I'm going to call that rolled out. This is going to make a ton of cinnamon rolls. Alright, so I want to do my melted butter first. And this is just the imperial margarine. So you just dump it on there and you spread it around. This is why I say the flour on it really doesn't matter, because the first thing you're going to do when you start to put your cinnamon rolls together is put this margarine, or if you've got butter, you'll use butter. But that's first. So there's the first step. You put your butter on. Then you get your cinnamon and you put that on. So you get your cinnamon, get a good coating of cinnamon on there. Then you are going to get your sugar, and you're going to put a whole mess of sugar on top of that cinnamon. And here we go. And the recipe says to use at least a half cup of sugar, at least, you know, for what I'm doing. Just make sure it's covered in sugar. All right, and that's that. Then you're going to roll up your dough. All right, you are going to roll your dough up, and it doesn't really matter in which direction you roll it. I would prefer it closer to me, so you just start folding your dough over. And these cinnamon rolls are 1,000 times better than any brand name cinnamon roll you could buy. So if you want to give your family a treat this holiday season, make your own cinnamon rolls. They are absolutely delicious. If you want to go all out, make your own cream cheese icing. I can't do that because the store didn't have any powdered sugar. So I have store-bought icing, but to be quite honest, the rolls are so good that the store-bought icing does not harm the flavor at all. So you want to get your cinnamon rolls all rolled up. And they may not, the edge may not stick, and that's okay. But here is the log of cinnamon roll right here. Half order, dude. Can you believe it? This is just half of that recipe. So you'll probably end up cutting the end off to make it even. And then you'll just cut your cinnamon rolls. And there's the other end that we don't need. All right, folks, this made 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 cinnamon rolls. 20. All right, I need to get my pan. All right, my pan had pizza in it from last night. I made spicy meatball pizza, and it was a challenge to get out. This is actually the third time I've washed this pan today. All right, I think it's clean. I'm going to put some foil on it. It'll just make removing the biscuits or the rolls easier. So, put the foil on here. And then we just put the cinnamon rolls on the tray. When you do your cinnamon rolls, don't forget to give them room to rise. And I'll show you what I mean. That's how I'm doing them. They should bake in about 30 minutes. So it's time that they go in the toaster oven. All right, and I will show you these in the toaster oven. And it's going to be 2 batches or 3 to get them all done. But they can sit right there on the table. They'll be fine. And here's the rolls in the toaster oven. And I'll be back when the rolls are done. All right, it is time to ice one of these up and see how it tastes. Oh, we'll go with this one. A little more done than I want, so I turned the thermostat down on my toaster oven. This is the first time I've made these rolls in a toaster oven, so I expected some issues. I'm not surprised these are a little darker than I wanted. So we'll just ice this up and see how it tastes. You'll never go back to store-bought cinnamon rolls after you make these. Yep, these are amazing, folks. All right, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.